Yes, welcome into Sportsbit. Betting and Insight today, Thursday, December 1st. Pauly and Teddy, big game breakdown. Bedlam, Oklahoma State for the Big 12 title. SEC preview, Big 10 championship preview coming up. And we'll also get to the Clippers and the Cavs. A good Thursday night game on TNT. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. A horrific beat if you had the Wizards and the under. Westbrook hit a three late to put it into overtime, and Westbrook outscored the Wizards in overtime by himself. He had 35, 14, and 11. He's averaging a triple-double on the season, Teddy.
Yeah, it's brutal for you. You keep talking about how you have Harden in your pocket at 22-1 to win the MVP. And Westbrook averaging a triple-double, obviously the first player since Oscar Robertson to be doing that this late in the campaign. But you're right, I mean, brutal. All right, Wizards were +5. Total in that game's 216. Washing up by 7 in the fourth quarter. They're up 105-102. You're going to cash Wizards, you're going to cash under. Westbrook hits the three, and then it's all Oklahoma City the rest of the way. Remember, last week, we talked about Washington on the other end of one of these bad beats when they beat Sacramento. Was that last week or that was a couple days ago? Yeah, where the Wizards were on the other end of one of these in OT. Last night, they were on the wrong end of it, unfortunately, for Washington backers.
Oh, another bad one. The Grizzlies were catching 13 in Toronto. It's a one-point game in the fourth quarter. They get outscored by 14 points.
Yeah, I mean... outscored, 29-15 the rest of the way. But that's the kind of thing that can happen on the road against a good team when your point guard is out for the next 2 months with a fractured vertebra. They're going to miss Mike Conley. You know, Chandler Parsons, he's cashing his paycheck in street clothes too. Zach Randolph was out following the death of his mother. Vince Carter hurt his hip. I wonder now with this Memphis team, is it a sinking ship right now? David Fizdale's got about as tough of a challenge as an NBA coach can have at this stage of the campaign.
Plenty of bad bets. Michigan bet up to 4.5 to 6.5 against Virginia Tech. Hokies win outright. They're 6-1.
Yeah, and the Wolverines again. They look bad against South Carolina, and they struggle again against a team that can actually defend. No, all wrong money on Michigan. Virginia Tech was the right side in that one.
I guess I didn't watch Sportsbit yesterday. Purdue, Louisville. They bet it over from 136.5, steamed it up to 139.5. 52 at the half. A lot of scramble points late to make it look respectable.
Yeah, and remember, I mean, that total was actually opened 140.5 and got bet down and then got bet back up again later in the day. I mean, there was 107 points with 3 minutes left in a game totaled at 139.5. Purdue made it look closer with that late scramble. 28 points scored the last 3 minutes, and it still stayed under, Pauly. That's how you know the over was a bad bet in that one. When you got 28 scramble points over the last 3 minutes and you're still cashing an under ticket, yeah, that was a right side.
December 1st, I don't care. Send Coach of the Year award to Luke Walton already. Lakers were +10 in Chicago. No Russell, no Young. They win the game. They're 10-10 on the season. They didn't get their 10th win last year till February 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, night and day, different team. And it's not like the personnel's that different for LA this year compared to last. Maybe we should give Byron Scott the uncoach of the year for what he did last year. And, of course, the Kobe farewell tour was, not a good thing for team basketball. Let's just put it that way. But there was Bulls money last night. I mean, you talked about it. Nick Young hurt, D'Angelo Russell hurt. But depth isn't a problem for L.A. That's what baffled me about the line move, especially in the backcourt. Jose Calderon started. Jordan Clarkson, Louis Williams came off the bench. All three guys had big games. Especially Clarkson and Williams off the bench. And L.A. was the better team in the fourth quarter on the road against a veteran squad. Yeah, maybe some of it does have to do with Luke Walton. He's certainly, I'm not going to argue with you as him as the coach of the month for the month of November.
Not a fan of Fred Hoiberg. That continues. Bad for the books. Plenty of Pistons money and over money. They beat the Celtics 121-114 on the road. Ultimate game, ultimate teamwork game. Bob Ryan had an excellent tweet.
Oh, yeah. Ish Smith was 1 point shy of 5 starters with 20. He's only covered 2 such games. The Celtics in the early 70s versus the Bullets, and the Suns in the 84 playoffs versus L.A. That's right. 4 of the Pistons' 5 starters scored 20 or more, and Ish Smith, the fifth, with 19. They shot 55% on the second night of back-to-backs, Pauly.
Yeah, and what a run here. How about the turnaround with Detroit? Remember, they started 1-8 on the road.
Sure. I mean, the game itself was a game of wild runs. In the fourth quarter, the Celtics go an 11-0 run to take the lead. The crowd goes nuts. There's plenty of time left if the Pistons are going to collapse for Boston to get the win and the cover. But Detroit responded with a 9-0 run of their own to retake command of the game. And I think there's value with the Pistons on the highway right now. They're a team I'm looking to bet in road environments. That 1-8 start, that's all rear view mirror now, yet that's all factored into the point spread. Meanwhile, Boston, this is a team you can make money with on the road. They were a top 5 point spread team on the road last year. They're 7-3 on the road this year. I don't want to lay points with the Celtics at home. And, by late November, when you talk about NBA handicapping methodology, and that's something we haven't done a lot of on the show yet this basketball season. But by late November, you should have a pretty good idea of what teams you're looking for in what roles. The Boston Celtics, that home favorite role, no, that's not where I want Boston. I want Boston as a road team. Doesn't matter. Chalk or dog, depending on the situation, but not home favorites. That's not their best ATS role. That's not their money-winning role.
Very good there. Bad for the books continues. A ton of money on the Spurs Mavs under. The Mavs have been an under machine. Bet down from 192 to 186.5. No Parker, no Dirk. But again, the scramble points late. Bad for the books because it lands 187.
No, it landed 187 when these two teams met 10 days ago.
Oh, sorry.
The total was, yeah. I mean, last night's game, a ton of money came into the under after Parker was out. Got bet 192 to 186.5. I mean, just a steady flood of under money. So the last time there were a bunch of scramble points, it got to 187. They met 10 days ago, the total was 186. And then they met yesterday, and the total opens at 192. They poured it on under, and this time it was sitting at 163 with 3 minutes left. There were more scramble points, but it only got to 181 at the end. Under cashes. Books take a beating on that total.
Yes, thank you, Teddy. Rutgers, plenty of Rutgers money. Bet down from 17 to 14.5 against Miami of Florida. They lose by 12.
Yeah, I mean, they were down double digits the whole second half, but Miami didn't put together the run to close them out. Scarlet Knights actually cut the lead to 10 before a couple of free throws allowed the Hurricanes to win by 12. Lots of Rutgers money. Not a good result for the house.
And Louisiana Tech took a ton of cash. Plus 14, bet down to plus 11 in Cal. Cal escapes with the win in overtime. Made a lot of free throws late. Misleading score. They win by 9.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, with La Tech leading late in Berkeley, Kwanzaa Martin's squad lucky to escape with a straight-up win. The Bears' injuries piling up. Make sure you adjust your Cal power ratings if you're the type of guy that keeps power ratings.
Yes, excellent game to start up next with the Clippers and the Cavs. Both teams off disappointing losses. And then we'll get to Bedlam, SEC, and Big Ten conference title previews coming up on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Back on SportsBit, Pauly and Teddy, Betting Insight today. Time for a big game breakdown. As always, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. Big game in the association tonight. Cavs at home against the Clippers. Cavs 5. How about that? How many times are the Cavs only 5 at home? 214.5 the total. Both teams off disappointing losses. Clippers led the Nets by 18 2 nights ago with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. They blew it. Remember, they got off to the hot start. They had the best record in the NBA. DeAndre Jordan with a great quote. I think we're smelling ourselves a little bit. We haven't done shit. Nothing. We were number 1 in the West for a couple of weeks. That don't mean nothing at all. I feel like we took that for granted. We thought we were a lot better than we really are. We got to continue to get better and have respect for the game, end quote. And remember, that Brooklyn loss followed that no-show in Indiana when they scored 70 freaking points.
Well, I mean, they had a no-show in the fourth quarter against the Nets. Chris Paul, quote, anybody in the league knows. They say you mess with the game. And like you said, the basketball gods got us. Now, Doc Rivers went ballistic in overtime of that loss against the Nets. And after the game, he's saying, well, I was mad at the ref. Yeah, he was mad at the ref. No, he was mad at his team. Quote, we just hadn't played well the other 2 losses. Remember, this was a third straight loss. But we came into the game with the right attitude. Tonight, we got good all of a sudden. But we were walking around like we'd done something. And that bothers me because we've done crap. We haven't done crap. And for us to walk around against a team, to me, that is playing their hearts out every night just to win one game, for us to walk around like we've done something, it bothers me on a basketball level. I didn't like it. That was a meaningful loss for the Clips. This is the type of game we can expect them to show up. Here's one more for Doc. Quote, I think we lost our respect for the game. We lost our humility. You've got to respect the game of basketball for 48 minutes.
Yep, Cavs off the loss in Milwaukee. They got dumped by 17. The Greek Freak, 34 points, 12 rebounds in 34 minutes. He was excellent. J.R. Smith, feel free to guard somebody, so you know the Cavs will be in a foul mood.
Yeah, yes and no, but, I mean, the last 6 Cleveland opponents, they all had losing records entering the game, and you wonder if that causes a team to lose focus. You know, I mean, Ty Lue, he pulled his starters with 3:49 left in the third quarter. All of them, which is something that he hasn't done a whole lot. And he went to the very end of his bench. You know, DeAndre Liggins and Jordan McRae, James Jones and Chris Anderson, Mike Dunleavy. You know, back into the bench, guys. Quote from Lou: "We just didn't match their physicality. They ran some stuff that we showed that they were going to run, but I just thought they were more physical. I thought we didn't match their intensity." And, of course, when you talk about a lack of intensity, we got to talk about J.R. Smith. You know, now he's a distraction again. He's also 3 of 29 shooting for the last 3 games. I'm telling you, can't make money with the Cavs. You're not going to make money with the Cavs in the regular season. They will be ATS losers. I'm not so sure that's the case tonight for the LA Clippers.
Yep, I like Cavs in the over tonight. Should be a hell of a game, though. Should be a track meet. Game number 2, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. 1 o'clock Pacific on CBS Saturday. SEC title game, Florida against Alabama. I mean, look at this. Alabama 24-41 the total. 7 straight SEC title games have gone over. These teams met last year. It was 29-15. Florida scored late to get in the back door. Also went over a total of 38, as you can see the graphic here with all these overs the last few years. Bama and Kiffin, very creative with Hurts. Got to respect the passing ability, completing 65% of his passes and 21 touchdowns. Against Auburn, his 12th rushing touchdown, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, you call it the SEC championship game? No, it isn't. This is the SEC West and over game. You know, an SEC West and over parlay has cashed 5 times in the last 7 years. No team from the East has won since, 2008? And Florida's not. I mean, I was trying to envision a scenario in which Florida could win this game. And I guess there's one. You know, Alabama turns the ball over. They did have 3 turnovers against Auburn. But when you look at the problem with that Gators defense, let's hold on that for 1 minute and talk about Alabama's offense. Because you bring up Jalen Hurts and the 21 touchdown passes, the 12 rushing TDs. You know, he leaves so much that an opposing defense has to account for. And, of course, let's not forget, Alabama's power rushing game is still there. Their depth at wide receiver is as good as any in the country. Jim McElwain, quote, "They've added a new dimension, obviously, with Hurd's mobility. This quarterback is something that's real special. Has created a lot of explosive plays, not only for himself, but obviously because you have to play that component. It loosens it up for some other guys. They've done a heck of a job playing to his strengths. He's fun to watch. I'm telling you, he's got a great command. Sure, we would expect another strong performance from, the most impressive Frosh QB in the country, Jalen Hurts, this year. But, Pauly, there's no bargains here. No bargains whatsoever when you talk about price with Alabama.
They would have to turn the ball over at least 5 times to lose this game or for Florida to have a chance. Their offense is god-awful. It's a mess. They didn't score an offensive touchdown against Florida State, and they went 0 of 12. They were 0 for 12 on third down conversions. Didn't convert one the entire game. Florida State was just running conservative offense and punting because they knew Florida couldn't do anything. And now the tough schedule. At LSU, at Florida State, Bama on a neutral. Teddy, look at the injuries on the Florida defense.
Sure. And even going back to the LSU game, I mean, how did they beat LSU? They beat LSU because the Tigers had 5 tries inside the 10-yard line, and they came away with 10 points off of those 5 tries. They kept on screwing up in the red zone. Florida State didn't do that last week. Alabama hasn't done that all year. And you look at the Gators' injuries on the defense side of the football. These are just their starters that are hurt. Defensive lineman Jordan Sherritt, obviously, he's out with a knee. Defensive lineman Brian Cox, he's out with an ankle. You have the safety, Marcus May, out with an arm injury. The safety, Nick Washington, he's got an ankle sprain. The linebacker, Alex Anzalone, he's got an arm injury. Linebacker, Jarrett Davis, he's got an ankle injury. And, of course, as you mentioned, offense didn't score a touchdown last week and 0 for 12 on third down conversions. When you got those type of defensive injuries, yeah, I mean, there's no bargains with Alabama, but it's hard for me to get to the window with the Florida Gators in this one.
And I imagine you're going to get a special teams or defensive touchdown out of Bama, too.
It's what they're supposed to do. They do it almost every week.
Yep. Big Ten And the Bedlam game, Big 12 de facto championship between Oklahoma State. That's coming up in the play of the day on SportsBit. Betting insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Do your research before you bet. Check out our ratings guide to see which books have the best ratings and sign-up bonuses. Open up several accounts and shop for lines at SBRodds.com. Always be ahead of the game.
Back on SportsBit, betting insight today. Big game breakdown continues. Live odds, sportsbookreview.com. 5 o'clock Pacific, Saturday night on Fox. Big Ten title game, Penn State against Wisconsin. The Badgers 2.5, 47.5 the total. Penn State offense made one of the biggest upgrades in the nation, but without great talent. Offensive coordinator John Donovan out. They replace him with Joe Moorhead. How's that working out for Donovan? He's the offensive quality control coach for the Jaguars. Mercy, Teddy. And McSorley has been dynamite lately.
Yeah, Donovan goes to Jacksonville, and guess what? Now the Jaguars' offense stinks. Remember, Jacksonville's offense was better last year than it was this year. And oh, by the way, Penn State's offense, a hell of a lot better this year than it was last year. Joe Moorhead's done a ridiculous job. And you talk about it, I mean, the Penn State doesn't have great talent on the offside of the football, but Moorhead has done a great job of getting the most out of that talent. Trace McSorley, you know, he's 6'1", he's 200, he's not going to be an NFL guy. He's not a great runner, he's not a great passer. But you know what he's done this year? More than 2,900 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, only 5 INTs, more than 350 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns on the ground. He's been a dual threat. He's been a bear for opposing defenses to stop. And, of course, that's been the key for Penn State. They've been able to find what opponents can't stop, and they played into their weaknesses. Some of it's been wearing weaker defenses down in the second half and getting Saquon Barkley going. Some of it's been McSorley finding ways to move the football, but when they faced a defense that doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, there have been 2 of them this year. They played Michigan. Well, they had 13 first downs, 199 yards. Against Ohio State, they managed 14 first downs. They got 319 yards in that game. Had a couple of big plays, but they have not been able to move the football on any consistent basis when they step up in defensive against an opponent that has a lot of defensive class.
And that's Wisconsin. No weakness here on their defense. Ohio State, the only team to break 350 yards against them. 6 of the 12 opponents did not get to 300 yards against Wisconsin. But again, it seems like it's the same story every year. Mediocre quarterback play, whether it's Houston or Hornibrook.
Yeah, and Hornibrook now upgraded to probable. But, you know, frankly, the difference between Houston and Hornibrook, I mean, Hornibrook's got better arm strength. Houston, and he's shown signs away from home. Houston, I trust him a lot more of playing in Madison, even though the Frosh is the guy that doesn't have the experience. But look, I mean, the passing game didn't open up enough room for their power ground game all season long. That being said, Corey Clement, has 600-yard games in his last 7 contests. And defensively, as you mentioned, Wisconsin, not a whole lot of weaknesses. Penn State, they don't have Wisconsin's defense. Let's just put it that way.
How about a total this high for a Wisconsin game?
How about a total this low for a Penn State game? You know, I mean, they've been playing up tempo all year, and that offense has been moving the football effectively all year. So, that being said, you're not going to catch me betting a Wisconsin game over in this particular total range.
One more, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. Fox, Saturday morning, 9:30 Pacific. Oklahoma against Oklahoma State from Norman. Sooners are 11 at home, 77.5 the total. Can it return to Bedlam again? 2 years ago, Oklahoma State won 38-35 as a 19-point dog. Last year, blowout. The Cowboys rolled over. It was 58-23. Sooners all over the Cowboys in that one. It was P. Ryan and Mixon again. This Oklahoma offense been dynamite in the month of November. And you look at P. Ryan and Mixon, what they've done lately. This is a special duo that both guys will play in the NFL, Teddy.
Yeah, they sure will. And look, 2 years ago, Mason Rudolph, it was like his coming out party against Oklahoma. It really was an impressive game for the young quarterback. You know, now he's in his second full year as a starter. He also started at the end of his Frosh season. But we saw Oklahoma completely shut him down last year. I mean, Rudolph is a guy who has a little bit of NFL upside at quarterback. I expect him to be drafted, and he might even be a first or second day draft choice. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Phillip Rivers with his awkward throwing motion. And the numbers are great. 9.2 yards per attempt, 25 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. Oklahoma's defense is no good. The Sooners' defense allowed more than 3,000 passing yards this season. Every good quarterback has moved the football against them. But I don't know if that Cowboys defense is going to get a whole lot of stops. As you talked about, Perrine and Mixon, 2 guys who will be playing on Sundays. And you can't just key on the run. You can't stack 8 or 9 guys in the box. Day-Day Westbrook is what? 19.3 yards per catch this year. 70 receptions, 1,354 receiving yards, 15 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield gets the hype. But of all the Oklahoma skill position players, this is the guy that has the least NFL upside. Westbrook, Mixon, Samaj, they're all going to be first or second day draft choice. These guys have a much bigger NFL future than the quarterback that's feeding them the football.
Could get out of hand if they can't stop the run again. Last year against Oklahoma State, P. Ryan had 17 carries for 131 yards and 2 scores. Mixon had 14 for 136 and 2 scores. Yikes. Could be a shootout in Bedlam. Money time, play of the day. 34-18-1 on the football season. Back to the Big Ten title game. What are we doing, Teddy?
We got to go with Bucky Badger. Not just because I love the picture so much, but I think Wisconsin's defense is going to be able to have some more success against Penn State than vice versa. And the point spread sitting at 2.5 right now. I don't think it's going to be there much longer. Get it now before it's gone. Game number 334. Badgers will be celebrating. Bucky Badger minus the points in the Big Ten title game.
All right, very good. We're back tomorrow. Preview all the NFL action. Recap the Cowboys and the Vikings, NBA as well. You also have the Rockets and the Warriors Thursday night. Total, 230 in that one? Something like that. That'll be wild. We'll see you Friday on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.